Hello, and welcome to another horrible review. My name is Zachary Van Siders with Old Man Gaming. So let's get into disclaimers. First of all, I'm a house dad, does this part-time. Might hear my dog whining in the background or a long pause where I'm not sure what I'm going to say. I'm not going to go back and edit it because I don't get paid for this. Disclaimer number 2, I don't give scored reviews for video games. I think they're one of the most subjective forms of art. Therefore, you will hear my overview of what the game is, pros, cons, and then whether or not I'm not going to stick with it. And this is all my opinion. Of course, as always, if you love the game you want to try it, go try it and love it, you know. Finally, I usually don't get a ton of time with this. Very rarely do I get to finish games, finish the DLCs that I'm doing reviews for. So this is kind of like a snapshot, every man's look at the game. Okay, so keep that in mind. If you want something more in-depth, you gotta go somewhere else. With that out of the way, today's review is on Borderlands 3. Let me see if I can't get this right. Moxxi's Heist of the Handsome Jackpot. Did I say that right? I'm not 100% sure, but the new paid DLC came out. It came out in December, midway this week. And that's what we're doing. We're doing it again, because every time I do a Borderlands video, I get a ton of clicks. So that's the way we got to do it. Alright, so the overview of this game, it is the first paid DLC for Borderlands, for Borderlands 3, which Borderlands 3 has gotten quite a few non-paid DLCs and upgrades, including the Bloody Harvest event, as well as the takedown at the Malamon Black site, which was also very interesting and entertaining. But this is the first one that you are meant to shell out dollars for. And it is a substantial update. From what I hear, it's about 5 to 8 hours of content. And what is that content? Well, you go to a new space station area. It's not a planet, but it's a space station. It is this floating casino that Handsome Jack built from Moxxi's idea. And basically, when Jack kicked the bucket back in Borderlands 2, the place went into lockdown. Everybody who was on the station got trapped there with the loader bots and everything else. And now Moxxi wants to take the casino back as her own, since she feels she was ripped off by Jack, which, hey, everybody was. So right off the bat, you're greeted with a ton of Handsome Jack. Yeah, like anybody who was upset that there wasn't enough Handsome Jack in Borderlands 3 and stuff, obviously they heard you. And they were like, how do we make this work without actually putting Handsome Jack back into the game? He is everywhere. A friend of mine, I had been playing it first, and a friend of mine actually asked me, like, is Handsome Jack back? And I was like, no, but he might as well be. That's how much Handsome Jack material is in this. You're right off the bat greeted by like a video starring Handsome Jack, who is advertising the casino just to set everything up, and then there's kiosks that you press buttons and Jack just says crazy stuff to you. Jack says crazy things in every room, like his weird holographic ghostal visage follows you around the entire time. Plus, not to spoil things, but there's a character who's very Jack-like, who says very Jack-like things, that is involved in the entire storyline. So it kind of tries to set it up like an old school heist, where you're kind of putting a team together to rob the whole thing, and you have to collect these characters, these new side NPC characters, who also give you missions, and then, you know, the whole time loot and shoot. I mean, I will say I never really got the whole heist feel from it. It's still Borderlands. It's a lot of shooting and looting. There's nothing really there's no sneaking into a room and sliding under laser pointers or whatever. I mean, maybe not. I haven't finished it yet. I've gotten probably about halfway through. But I don't see any of that happening. I mean, after all, it's Borderlands. Borderlands is point and shoot until that thing is dead, and then point and shoot at something else. Okay, so that's the overview. I don't want to give any more of the overview because I feel like I will be getting into spoilers territory, and this has only been out for 4 days, so some people might want to experience stuff in this for the first time, so I'm just going to move right into pros and cons, okay? So pros. I'm gonna say right now, I'm starting with pros, but this is I'm probably gonna be a little negative on this DLC. This is one DLC that was a little bit lackluster for me. I'll explain more about that in cons, but let's do the positive first. The pros of this game. Right off the bat are the NPCs. I felt that they were endearing on a level that maybe the original game even is missing a little bit. A lot of the characters that you meet I immediately was like, okay, I really like working with this person. I really like hearing what they have to say. And that's really entertaining. Then I gotta say a pro is, Jack being back in kind of a weird way. As much as I don't want to see Jack come back for real, because this shouldn't be like a superhero thing where everybody who dies comes back eventually. Like, he should definitely stay dead. It's really nice to have that, that personification of the humor that Borderlands represents, which is, middle school potty, poop and fart, violence jokes. And don't get me wrong, that's not an insult. There is a time and place for those jokes, and I think Borderlands 3 is the time and place for those jokes. What I do like about this DLC, at least so far, is they do a little bit of a better job marinating those with some actual good storytelling, whereas I felt like Borderlands 3, as much as I liked it, the poop and fart jokes were turned up to 12, and sometimes they were in places where you're like, I didn't really need a poop and fart joke there. But in this one, they do a really good job balancing it. You really get that humor. They do a little bit of a better job balancing it, like Borderlands 2, where you get the humor, but you also get a really great story in it, and I enjoyed that. I really did. I definitely found myself giggling a lot more than I did in Borderlands 3, and I giggled plenty in Borderlands 3's main story, but this one I was giggling at a lot of stuff, and I like that. I like being taken back to kind of my childhood a little bit, and just like, that's funny. Okay, so let's go negative. Let's switch over to the cons, and like I said, this is probably going to be a more negative Borderlands 3 stuff that I do than I usually do. So I know I'm going to make some people mad, even possibly my Let's Play partner, PhilBilly330, but I gotta say, I felt like this DLC was a little lackluster. So hear me out. One thing that I've loved about the DLC from Borderlands 3 so far is that they've done things to innovate what they are as a brand and what they are as an ongoing game. Their seasonal event, was one of the best seasonal events I've ever partaked in. And don't get me wrong, it went on way too long, and everybody got sick of the ghosts. But the fact that the seasonal event actually changed the way everybody played the game, just the base game on a base level, was amazing. Usually that doesn't happen. As a guy who plays a lot of games as service games, usually you get some extra mission over here that or some ability to throw snowballs. You don't get a full different level of play to the game, which this did. This presented that. Again, it went on too long and everybody got sick of the ghosts, but I love the fact that the ghosts were there right off the bat, because they changed the meta for the game for just a month, and that's kind of crazy. No other games as service does that, where the meta changes temporarily with the event, and I thought that was kind of a stroke of brilliance. Then you look at the Malawan takedown, at the black site at Malawan takedown, I can never say it in the right order, that was a complete, yes, that's kind of their version of a raid, but it was something different to Borderlands. It was kind of like a Proving Ground style, boss fight type run, and I thought that one was a lot of genius too. It was a lot of fun. It was really challenging. It was really cool the way the levels worked, and each one of the bad guys, one thing they did that was very cool is the originators of the raid, Destiny, has all these intelligence puzzles in between the shooting, and that can sometimes get very irritating. Whereas this one, the intelligence puzzles were in the shooting. It was I gotta find a creative way to beat these bad guys, and that was really cool. I really thought it stepped up its game on what Borderlands is, defining what Borderlands is. The best thing about Borderlands 3 so far, and all of its post-launch support, has been that they've changed kind of the meta of their own game. It's not just about being spongy and shooting a lot of bullets. It's also about how you play and how you shoot. With that being said, I feel like on that level, this DLC kind of falls flat. It's just more content. It doesn't bring a new level cap, which I'll agree it's too early for that, but it doesn't bring that. It doesn't bring any new. It doesn't bring anything new to the game other than content. And yes, I like more content just as much as the next person, but when you've given us 2 free DLCs that have changed the way we play, or upgraded the way we play, or redefined the way you are doing things, and then you just give us content, I don't know, it feels a little bit underwhelming. Honestly, after having played all 3, and granted this isn't the way it would have been if I hadn't played all 3, but after playing all 3, I would have paid for the event and the takedown, and would rather this be free. I mean, and again, I do want to stress that the looting's good, the shooting's good, and more content of this great game, which our channel awarded Game of the Year to, is not a bad thing. I just feel like it's just more packing peanuts for the free DLC, which is the real prize, which is the really exciting stuff that has kept bringing me back. Whereas this, I'm probably going to get through it, and then I'm going to have gotten through it. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm only halfway through it. There could be something at the end that changes my opinion of this, and that's just the downside of doing the reviews like I do them. But at the moment, this is my feeling, is that this is just more Borderlands 3 stuff, whereas you've done all these really cool revolutionary things, and then you're just going to give us just 8 more hours of content. So that brings us to stick with it. Look, I'm definitely going to beat it, that's for sure. It's Borderlands 3. I got to go through all that content. Am I going to come back to it? I'm not sure what kind of post DLC stuff is added to this yet, because I unfortunately haven't gotten to the end yet. If there is some exquisite coolness to it, then yeah, I'll come back. But for the time being, it's just a straight storyline. Until I get to it in true Vault Hunter mode, I don't see myself really going back to that. I see myself coming back for events in the future, because they did such a great job with Bloody Harvest, and I definitely see myself coming back to Proving Grounds and Maliwan Takedown and stuff like that. But this seems just like a straight story content drop without any real legs under it. So I'm probably gonna play it and be done with it. But again, I do want to say this is probably one of the more negative things I've done on Borderlands 3 so far. I do still want to say at the end, this is still Borderlands 3 at its finest. It's still great looting, great shooting, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. They've added more legendary guns. It's still as fun as it's always been, and the content is still good. And I will say the content drop for this game is really good. Like, the content you're getting, whether or not you decide to go back to it over and over again, is still really good. Probably some of the best we've had so far. So, that's it. That's my horrible review of, I'm not even going to try and say the title. I'm just going to say, of the Handsome Jackpot DLC. And thank you guys for watching or listening. Yeah, as long as you guys keep watching and listening, I'll keep on doing these. So go ahead and check out all the other shows we have to offer. We do a Let's Play. I do a Let's Play with my buddy PhilBilly330 on Wednesdays. Disco of the Dumb, my Outer Worlds Dumb playthrough on Tuesdays, and then of course the podcast on Friday. Audio version goes up on Thursday. So thank you guys, and this is going up right before Christmas, so I just want to say Merry Christmas, and thank you guys for continuing to view these, which gives me a reason to keep doing them. And yeah, I mean, that's the best Christmas present a guy could get, is views. So thank you. Merry Christmas, and I'll see you guys next week with Untitled Goose Game.
Bruce and the others. I wonder where that Jabberfoot ended up, though. At least we got a few lucky trinkets to try out.
And all in Alan is feeling lucky. Come on back.